Welcome to the Branding Expert Show. I am Susie Liberatore, owner and art director of Visions to Images, and I help businesses get their branding on track with my unique strategies and processes. With over a decade of experience, I helped corporations and mid-sized businesses create an unforgettable vision identity. I'm excited to have this podcast so that everybody can learn a little bit about branding as well as the entrepreneur world, because we all know how tough and rough it can be. So without further ado, I want to announce today's guest.
Hello, everybody. Today on the podcast, I have Tanja James, a master energy healer, and I'm super excited to have her on. I have been working with her for about 5-6 months on some of her branding stuff, so I'm excited to launch that with her. But I've got to know her very well, of course, when I have done her branding, and she's just incredible and has such amazing talent. So I'm happy to have her on here. Hi, Tanja.
Hi, thank you so much for the invitation. Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell everybody kind of a little bit about how you've gotten started with master energy healing.
Well, I have been an energy healer really since I was a child. So I had a paper route when I was little, and after my, Sunday delivery or Saturday delivery, I'd go over to all the little old ladies' houses and I'd put my hands on their, like the bottoms of their feet, for instance, and my hands would get really, really hot. And I just started sharing energy and not knowing at that time what I was doing.
Right.
And, many years later, I, had worked in nonprofit and done a lot of corporate work, and I knew I wanted to go into the healing arts. So the natural place for me to go was massage. So I, became a licensed massage therapist, and one of the sessions I had early on, somebody said to me, "Oh, you're doing Reiki." And I said, "I don't know what that is. Tell me more." And basically they said, "Oh, well, your hands heat up like that. That's Reiki." And I'm thinking, well, I've been doing this my whole life and my hands have always gotten hot. Don't everybody's? And they're like, "No, that's, you haven't had your Reiki attunements." And I'm like, "What are Reiki attunements?" So it was really funny that, as I grew into the healing arts, things that were very natural for me that I had done my whole life started to be explained in a container where I could understand, hey, I've been always doing this and I just didn't know what it was. So kind of wild, but cool.
Yeah, that is very wild and cool. So I know you kind of do amazing things. Tell me more about how you help people with this energy healing. Like, what does it actually do? Because there's so much going on in this world, and there's so many people who claim they're energy healers and all this stuff. So tell us more about what it is.
Well, really, in essence, everyone's an energy healer. Everyone can send and transmit energy. We are, multifaceted beings in that, yes, we're physical, but we're also electrical. We're also magnetic. We can send our signal out. And, prayer is a great example of this. When we hold the intention and hold prayer with someone, we are sending love. And prayers work. So anybody who's practiced prayer has seen prayer in action. So energy healing is very much like prayer. It's sending the intention of, love really, onto a specific, to a specific person, onto a specific place, and seeing those energies balance. So at the core of it, I really think everybody can learn the skill. And it's just a matter of if it's, it's kind of like one of those things that some people are more natural at it than others. But I think most people can learn how to send energy. If you can pray, you can send energy.
Great. Yeah, I love how you kind of explained that and broke it up into some simpler terms. So what are you most excited about? You have a lot of great things happening. Since I'm like kind of front end in your brand, I know some great things happening. So tell everybody else what's happening in your world.
Well, so, I'll kind of go back a little bit into the story to go into
Sure.
that. So the,
Hmm.
so healing arts kind of started in the early 2000s for me. And it kind of evolved as I, shared my spiritual gifts, they expanded. So we're always expanding. And when we start working with energy and our spiritual gifts, those are going to expand with us. So a couple of years ago, I was receiving a healing treatment, and all of a sudden these sounds wanted to start coming out. And I was like, what is this? I don't know what these sounds are. And the practitioner I was working with just said, hey, let him out. And I started speaking light language. And and I didn't know what it was. And he goes, oh, you just spoke Palladian. And I'm like, what's that? Again, my gifts kind of catching up to my mind, not knowing what was what. And so I sat on this language that started coming out for a few years, didn't share it with anybody. And then one day I just said, you know what, I'm going to go on a Facebook Live in a closed group where, light language is common, and just start sharing it. And from there, it just started expanding too. So now I use sound healing with the energy healing. And the sound that comes up can be very different depending on, so I have a team of, we can call them angels, multidimensional beings who work with me. And when I start toning, they're actually using kind of me as the transmitter, and the sounds that are coming through are really otherworldly. And so this kind of evolved and has evolved, and now I channel tones in my healing sessions pretty much every time. And they are used for everything, for physical issues people are having, emotional kind of stuckness that they've been dealing with for a really long time that they haven't been able to resolve, or people who have done a lot of internal work and want to expand their inner realms even more. So really what I teach is self-healing and consciousness. And I, have a couple programs I'm launching next month. But I work with, I think I've worked with clients in over 27 countries. And it's just amazing to see how they can receive it from the other side of the world. And, synchronicities just start massively increasing after, receiving session work from me. It's really incredible. And I kind of sit in the sidelines sometimes watching, what's unfolding through my facilitation, and I'm blown away. Because basically I watch miracle after miracle every day, and I'm like, oh my God, is this real? Yeah, it's real. Keep going with it. So it's really quite magical. It's really, really quite magical.
So I kind of have a side question as well for you. If you could give anybody a tip to kind of channel into their inner energy right now, how could they do that?
So, tapping into the oneness that we all are is, everybody I think has their own way of doing that. So for some people, it's going to their happy place, right? We all kind of have those happy places that we can kind of mentally visualize, our favorite place in nature, or a memory, a touchstone memory that always brings joy. So when we go into that memory or into that kind of happy place, we automatically kind of activate this energy of oneness. So there's lots of do it. One way that I do it is simply just by, closing my eyes and breathing in the sun through the top of my head. I just imagine a big, bright, beautiful sun, maybe 100 feet over my head, pouring light on my head, and just agreeing and aligning with my oneness with the universe. And I'll tune into earth and do the same thing. I'll breathe up earth energy through my feet and just allow that light from the center of earth to come up around my body. And I agree and align with my oneness with earth. And, we can work with our energy bodies and actually start feeling our auras, ask, let me feel my energy body. That's, one way that we know that we have energy bodies is like, that automatic response when somebody's looking at you, for instance. You could be driving in your car and you can feel somebody looking at you when you look in the car next to you and they're looking at you, right? Or when you're standing in the grocery store now, especially with social distancing, we really notice when somebody is, standing right behind us. Our eyes could be closed, but we can feel somebody behind us. That's our aura, right? So it's just because we can't see energy doesn't mean it's not working. Our entire technological lives are based on the unseen. Somehow, we can't see the sound waves coming out of our voices, or the microwaves or the Wi-Fi waves, all the things that make our life work. We can't see it, but that doesn't mean it's there. Our energy bodies are the same thing. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean they're not there. So when we drop into this, happy place, or align with the sun and the earth, we are tuning into that frequency, that vibration of oneness. And, it brings our parasympathetic response system in our brain into play. So, when we're, in that relaxed state, then, our digestion slows, our breathing deepens, we get more centered, we get more calm, and it's much easier to melt kind of the heavy stress off of us when we tap into that universal energy that's available to everybody.
Right, exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, there's so much to the energy that I know, like when I'm anxious and stuff, I definitely take a lot of deep breaths and kind of center myself and just take that time to reflect and ease my mind, almost like a meditation stage, but not as deep into it as some people can be. But yeah.
There's like a really quick one too, where you breathe in for 9 counts.
Yeah.
You hold it, and then you breathe out for 6 counts. And that 9-4-6 has been scientifically proven to help activate that parasympathetic response even sooner. So you can do, when I do the 9-4-6, I usually do 9 breaths of it. And you can noticeably tell before and after the difference. And just, you feel more calm, you feel more centered, and coming back in, to prayer, that's another way that you can feel that oneness of just going into that state of, speaking to the divine, whatever your definition of the divine is.
Right. Perfect. So I know you're an entrepreneur, obviously. What kind of advice do you have for somebody who's either kind of starting off or in business and is struggling and needs some of that advice from like an expert kind of person who has been around a little bit?
Well, things are getting shaken up right now, which is pretty self-evident, and there's a lot of fear. So we have some industries that could be gone forever and not come back, or we have, things that are changing so drastically to where a lot of people are affected. And I think the bigger picture, if we were to kind of blow up the big picture here, we can kind of see the start of a new Renaissance period where, people are going to be working from home more. They're going to be using their own creativity and their own expression to start bringing in income. And, a lot of the manual labor jobs are going to start getting more and more automated. There's just going to be more people than there are traditional jobs that we are used to in, our current society. So I think we're going to see a type of renaissance coming out of this, where people are going to be much more in tune with their creativity, with what they want to express, of, how they want their intellectual side to lead and create income from there. So I think for anybody, if you're following the joy in your heart, if you're following what excites you, if you're following what lights you up, you're probably in the right direction. And a lot of people are probably questioning, maybe they hated their job And now they've been home for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever. And they're like, I don't want to go back there, but I don't know what to do instead. So that is, and what happens when we get stuck in the fear and the stress, you can't be in the zone of, lack and there's not enough and I'm freaking out at the same time as, hey, I'm an abundant creator, can, manifest the perfect job for me right now. You can't be in those two energies at the same time.
Right.
So the more that we can tap into the energy of trust and allowance and start to look and be curious, okay, what's really easy for me that's maybe not easy for other people? How can I serve in that way? There's going to be a lot of opportunity, I think, coming out from all of this. And the more that people can stay in that zone of trust, allowance, and curiosity, the more they're going to be able to seize on the opportunities that present themselves as things change up. And I think it's going to be really interesting. It's just really about mitigating the stress and the, oh my God, how am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my rent? Just trusting, guess what? I'm going to eat. Guess what? I'm going to be able to pay my bills. I want to make where is my joy? Where is my excitement? And how can I fuse those two worlds together?
Yeah, totally. And I think there is a lot of changes happening. And I know there's so many businesses who are already shifting and adjusting and pivoting. And even people who, like you said, have been out of work are kind of rethinking so much stuff and rethinking how can I go after the creativity that lights me up, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like there's definitely going to be a lot of changes and shifts. I mean, I'm with the local community very heavily, and the CEO of the chamber is like, we're still going to keep doing Zoom meeting calls even after we can do large events and gatherings. I mean, people still like to have these Zoom meetings just because of convenience and everything, but we're still going to have in-person stuff. So people are adapting already and understanding in the future what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I have clients that commute, hours every day, and some now they're working at home and they have that time back, and they're really questioning, hey, do I want a 2.5 hour each way commute every day just to get to work? And that makes sense for the company? Maybe, it's just going into the office once a week here on out for meetings, and I do the rest from home. So I'm hoping that, corporations can see the benefit for, people being able to work from home who want to work from home. I think that should be, I think this, has probably opened the doors for that change, because sometimes change happens really slowly because the systems that have been in place have been there for so long. And when we have a situation like this where, in quantum physics, we'd call it a disruption, right? A disruptor event. When we have something disrupt and shake up the system, then all of a sudden everything else has to kind of recalibrate. So just trusting that you're going to land on your feet is, that you're not going to land on your head, and reminding yourself continually, hey, everything's going to be more than okay. This is good. This is good. This is good. And it's hard sometimes to tune into that energy of excitement and curiosity when you're freaking out, thinking, oh my God, how am I going to survive? So trying to soften that survival mode, I do a lot of work with that with clients on mindset of just, how to be your own best friend and comfort the part that's freaking out, instead of judging it or feeding into it more, saying, oh no, I need to freak out. I need to freak out. It's really about taking ownership of your thoughts, of your feelings as best as you can, not trying to make feel right or wrong, but but taking charge and committing to, guess what? I'm going to be my own best friend. I'm going to be the best me I can be, and my best is always good enough. I think that people in general are really hard on themselves. They expect a lot for themselves. And then when it doesn't pan out the way that they think, they go into this, oh, well, I could have done it different. I could have done it better. I screwed up, whatever. And that's just not a productive way to talk to yourself. So if you were to talk to yourself like you would your best friend, your small child, people that you love, your vibration automatically changes because you shift out of that inner critic and into the inner creator.
Right, totally. And I think that I know personally, like when I'm under stress or panic or whatever is going on in life, I can't be creative and give my full attention to the things that are around me that need my attention, like my son and work and business. So really fine tuning and going back and saying I'm in control and taking charge of all of it and just going forward with it is
Yeah.
very huge.
Yeah, and not masking over what is coming up. So, Earth put us all in timeout for whatever reason, right? So it's almost like we have this collective Drano effect where all of the unprocessed emotion we've been carrying around, all of the fears that, have been maybe lying dormant have an outlet now. So we all have kind of, drank this energetic Drano together, and what doesn't want to come with us where we're going is being asked to be looked at to let go of. And we want to honor what's being let go of. We want to honor the sticky feelings and the heaviness that's coming up. And a simple way of doing that is just witnessing it without trying to change it.
Absolutely.
So just simply witness whatever you're feeling, not making it good, not making it bad, not making it wrong or right, just witnessing it and honoring its presence in your body. And after you've spent, even 30 to 60 seconds just witnessing the feeling in your body, simply saying thank you. Simply saying thank you for showing me, thank you for, expressing this within me. And you can watch it go out your feet and into earth to recycle. You can watch it going up and out your head, just see that heaviness leaving. And
right.
that and it's not masking over what's coming up, it's about bringing it home so it's not holding you back anymore.
Absolutely. Perfect. Yeah, I think everybody kind of needs to hear all of the things that you've said, especially going through. Thank you so much for listening in to the Branding Expert podcast today with Susie Liberatore. We hope that you were able to take away some great stuff, and make sure to check out the links from your guest expert and branding expert that was on today's episode.